Hello, I'm Dr. April Grothy, and today we're going to be talking about computer-aided text analysis. So the last few presentations that were done have been us progressing in our knowledge of content analysis. We started out with the 6 categories of content analysis, then we discussed unitizing and coding, and today we're going to be talking about CATA software, which is computer-aided text analysis. I'm going to be doing an overview of the software and what it has to offer. Then we will be looking at an interview. I will actually code it. So just a refresher from what we discussed last time. And then I will be using Yoshi Coder, which is a form of CATA software. I will be showing you how to enter text into the Yoshi Coder, how to obtain a word count, how to create dictionaries as well as get the results from those dictionaries, and then how to use those dictionaries to create concordances. Learning how to use the CATA software appropriately is important to us, as the right software can help aid our content analysis, both in processing large data sets as well as in increasing the information that we can obtain and that we can obtain quickly. So an overview of the software itself. So again, CATA software, CATA stands for Computer-Aided Text Analysis. We have some broad categories here. So text analysis software. In these types of software, all they're doing is working with the raw text, words, or character strings of the actual documents. In the accounts of character strings, we are basically counting the characters and not actually looking at what those mean. Text mining, that's basically what search engines do. Anytime you're searching anything in Google, you are using a text mining software. Mining textual evidence for theories. These sort the available text according to whether they do or do not contain a chosen word or phrase. Web graph analysis, these represent the links between sites on websites, and those are all just text analysis software. Those are just manipulating the raw words. In computational content analysis software, these ones actually go a little deeper into their analysis and into the use of the software. So these ones actually process text according to the theories of the meanings that are presumed to operate within the text of within the context of the analyzed text. So in coding and dictionary, we are listing character strings as words and categories of what they have in common. With statistical association approaches, we're counting how often people communicate with each other, or how often a particular phrase occurs, or how often the meaning occurs in the text. The semantic network approach, these ones, the networks that are included in the information about what is being said, or the kinds of social relationships with the individuals communicate with each other. So basically the networks that are formed in this are including the information that's being said, as well as the kind of relationships that the individuals have, say, when communicating with each other. Memetic approaches, these attempt to relate currently available text to histories of their interpretation. And lastly, we have support for qualitative data analysis, and these ones offer their software that enables an analysis to manage their interpretations of analytically relevant data. And they can do that by how the texts are entered, can they manually code within the software? Can they automatically code within the software? How the texts are displayed, and those sorts of things. So today I'm going to be focusing on just the text analysis software, and specifically the account of character strings. That is where the Yoshi Coder actually falls in the CATA analysis software. So as a refresher, we're going to go over just a quick coding that I did of the Snowden interview, which is our example. So I used one answer to one question that was given in this interview, which happened to contain 3 paragraphs. I'm not going to read them. I'm going to show you the codes that I came up with. Basically, the first paragraph, in my opinion, we're talking about the intelligent community is gathering foreign interest, foreign intelligence over overseas. The second paragraph, we're talking about the NSA that is targeting everyone, and it's analyzing and collecting data on communications. And lastly, we have, again, we're targeting everyone, everywhere, and how much information is gained depends on the analysis, the authority that the analysis have. So that's kind of the coding that I came up with, and I did this just quickly through the interview so that I had an idea of what I was looking for when I created dictionaries in the actual YoshiCoder. And the next few slides will kind of explain that a little more. So how do we enter text into YoshiCoder? So YoshiCoder is actually pretty easy. Google YoshiCoder, and right there, simple download for it, and it actually pops right up. And the text, obviously when you're creating it, the text itself is not actually in there. I inputted the text, and how I did that is just went straight to the documents, add a document, and selected. It brings up a little browser and asks you to pick the document. The documents have to be in text format, so they cannot be in a doc. They cannot be from a word processor, so they cannot be from .doc or .docx. They have to be .txt text. So it's actually pretty easy to obtain that. If your document is not in text format, all you have to do is resave it. And when you go to resave it, you just change it to saving as a blank text. So that's how you add the document in. So then you want to look at a word count. This is the second thing that I did. I wanted to look at a word count. I wanted to see if some of those codes that I had actually came up as some of the most common words. So pretty easy. You go to reports, you click on count words, click on the current document. We only have one document in here, so it's pretty easy. If you had more than one, you'd see over here in this document section that they would show up and you'd have options in what to pick. So picked current word document, and I came up with lists of words. Now, in this word count, the great thing is, as you can see, the words, let me go back here. The words themselves, they're not in alphabetical order. When you first pull it up, the words are actually in alphabetical order, which is great. And then you get A, and you get, you can see here, A, as, those sorts of things. What I wanted to know was the words that are actually shown most often. So I double-clicked it over here on count, so that it showed me the amount of words that showed up the most. And of course, you have the, of, A, and those common words. So I kind of scroll down a little bit, and you get things like government. We talk a lot about the government in this. Obviously, Snowden, that's our whistleblower. So we're starting to see some of the words. We talk a lot about people, so we're starting to see some of the words that I picked as for coding show up in our word count. So next we're going to create actual dictionaries, and this I used a little bit of the word count, a little bit of what I actually coded, and basically the first time that I did it, I actually did it a few times. So first time I created a dictionary. To create a dictionary, you go here, untitled is going to be the first thing you see. There's going to be nothing else. So you're going to right click on it. You're going to click add a category. Adding a category this is the dictionary. This is the name of the dictionary, basically, is government. Then I'm going to add a pattern. I'm going to right click on government. I'm going to add a pattern. And in this case, I put in government. So I know they talk about about the government, but not just. When they talk about the government, they're not just saying government, they're saying also governments. They're also talking about intelligent agencies. All of these have to do with the government. So you put in here everything that has to do with that dictionary. So I put in government. I put that little asterisk in so that it will pick up not only government, but also governments. They're talking a lot about surveillance as well. So we have surveillance, which gathers data, and they're watching you. These are all different types of surveillances that occur and how they are discussed in our text. And then targets, that the government's actually targeting people, the public targets. I'm talking a lot about targets and in whistleblowers. So this is how you add it in, and this is kind of what I created based off of the coding that I have, as well as I looked through the word count to say, okay, yeah, there is a lot. Government showed up as one of the higher ones in the top of our list of word counts. And then I asked it to actually show me the dictionary. So I went to reports and asked it to create the dictionary. So it showed me that government, so in my government dictionary, which includes, again, governments and intelligent agencies, there were 13 accounts of government. in this text. What was high, actually, not exactly surprising since they talked a lot about it, was targets. There's a lot of targets. A lot of people were talking about the people in the public being targeted, so there's a lot of targets. Then I realized that I went back to the text, and I just quickly read through the text again in my coding, and I realized that I missed some things. So I wrote intelligence agency, but I realized that they also talked about intelligence communities and just intelligence in general. So I went through my dictionaries again and I added more to it. So I took off agencies and I just put the actress in so we collect those other intelligent options. And also when he talks about the government, more specifically he mentions NSA and CIA as government entities when he's talking about the government without actually saying government. So I added more into my dictionaries to create a better dictionary. Then I realized he also talks a lot about things being wrong, so I wanted to pull that up too. So this time when I got my dictionary report, here you see that government, now we suddenly have 30 occurrences of this, and we only had, if I remember correctly, 12 on the last one. Let me look here. So we only had, 13 on the last one. So now suddenly we have 30 just by adding in these extra little words and keywords to be looking for under my government dictionary. And we also increased surveillance when I added in recording. And targets, these things kind of got left the same, but I was pretty impressed about how high this jumped up with governments when I increased and broadened actually what is categorized as a government. So this, again, is just a word count analysis. It's going to show us where our commonalities are. I mean, this is a pretty high percentage of the paper that actually talks about the government, talks about targets. If you go back to just looking at the word counts, obviously, and they're pretty high up there in counts, but government itself was not that high in an actual word count. It was actually only listed here 10 times just by itself. So now I just increased that threefold by creating a dictionary. So then you can use this dictionary to actually look at concordances, and if you look down here at the bottom, and in this case I did the concordance for targets, and you'll see that I actually did this concordance prior to adding in the secondary dictionary. So I looked at it again after doing the increase in the dictionary, but I obviously didn't put it into this presentation. So at the bottom here we have every occurrence of people, and you see here's a misspelling that would not have been shown up in our word count because of this unusual letter. But here it shows up in our concordance, and it also gives you the 5 words before and after so you understand where in this paragraph, this sentence, that it's discussed people. And if you scroll down, it starts with, obviously people's the first one, then public, then target. So it starts with people and the first occurrence of people, and then it goes, you scroll down, then it discusses the first occurrence of publics, and you scroll down. So it gives you an idea of where all these are actually occurring in the text. So this is a really great way to help with quick analysis of our text. I did this actually very quickly in just a few minutes, obviously after learning how to use the software. So just to recap, we have Kata software analysis. We talked about it, and we talked about the 3 broad categories, and those are the text analysis software. And again, this is where our YoshiCoder falls in. This category just deals with the actual words and counting of words. We did not go into any depth in anything deeper, not in this class. And then again, we showed the example of how to use YoshiCoder with that Shodan interview. And what I'd like you to remember from today's presentation is that this project with the Kata software is out there, and that it can really help us with our future content analysis of our projects. And it really did make analyzing this text quicker and easier than my actual manual coding would have done, and actually counting it manually and that sort of thing. So this in fact was quite a bit quicker. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Is there any questions?